out about. Okay, sorry about that. I got sidetracked. So anyway, tonight we're going to hear from speakers to how to get the word out about issues and or candidates via social media. Rose Colasino is one of the co-leads for Indivisible, Illinois, and she will introduce the first speaker. Rose.
Good evening, everyone, and happy to do so. Happy to introduce Mr. Christian Perry. Christian Perry is a political scientist, community organizer, and civic innovator from the South Side of Chicago, not too far from where I am now, right, Christian? Christian is a proud Navy sailor, alumni board president, and board of trustee member at Trinity Christian College. Serves on the board of directors for the South Suburban Council on Alcoholism and Substance Abuse, and sits on the board of youth empowerment organization Forever You. Christian is the CEO, he's a busy man, CEO of Grind Greatly LLC, a team cohesion, personal development, and gratitude integration company that helps teams and leaders increase their attitudinal fitness and pursue alignment. Sounds like something I need, Christian. He is the co-founder of, and I'm so excited about this group, especially Black Millennial Renaissance, a network of Black millennials and their allies fighting to end systemic racism. I think we initially met through Donna Miller, but then I really got to know you through that organization, BMR. This summer, BMR executed the Right to Breathe March and Rally, leading over 500 people in Palos Heights as they honored the lives of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. They called for justice, equity, and active allyship. Christian is an MPA candidate at Northern Illinois University. He was the inaugural director of community development for the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority. And now, yes, there's a little more here, and now serves as the deputy political director for Governor JB Pritzker's re-election campaign. Yay. Christian and his very beautiful wife, Shakina, live in southwest suburbs with their 10-year-old son. Now, very excited to turn it over to Christian.
Thank you, Rose. Sorry, everybody, for that obnoxious intro. My mom says I figured out how to squeeze a lot in my short 31 years so far, but very grateful to be with you all. Grateful to be in community with Rose. Grateful to be in community with Marcy. Some other familiar faces I see Lenny on the screen. So if I haven't met you before, but you're a part of this Indivisible family, I consider you a friend because I've just been very blessed by this group on my organizing journey, which started back in 2016. I've been able to work with folks from this organization to help elect good people up and down the ballot. And now I'm back working for one of my favorite teams, and that's JB and Juliana Stratton. I'm here because we've been having a series, more so with some of your leadership. Rose and Marcy and Jessica and Lenny, folks have been really good to us in the early stages of our campaign, introducing us to some of the folks that we need to know or reintroducing ourselves to ensure that we're making the most of this time before the general. And I'm not going to drone on a ton because I know I only have 15 minutes, so I want to be able to leave room for questions. But I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing on social specifically and how it may differ depending on where you live. So obviously, you got a type of messaging style that works really good in Cook County. And then it doesn't differ too much when you get out into the collars. But then once you start talking Metro East, Central Illinois, Southern Illinois, those messages need to be tailored to the people that are living there, the issues that really matter to them. Because JB in his 3 years, JB and Juliana have gotten a lot done. And we really got to effectively maximize this time between now March and July to get our partners engaged, talking about the things we want them talking about, and using this runway, this positive runway that we have since we don't have a primary opponent. So one thing I'm going to share is, and our communications team is awesome. Rose has got a chance to meet some of our digital team. Our comms team and our digital team obviously work hand in hand. And my role as deputy political is to help bring the people that help execute some of the great things that they dream up, right? So that we can leverage all relationships in all parts of the state. But there's this one messaging through line that we've had since January. It hasn't been updated yet. It will be updated throughout the course of the campaign. But essentially, it's like if you had to get out one message about JB and Juliana, what is that? And I'm going to share that messaging one line, what we call it. I'm going to share that with you now. And that is JB Pritzker is an effective, steady leader who has been fighting to put Springfield back on the side of working families and move Illinois in the right direction by tackling big challenges and delivering even bigger results for the people in every corner of our state. So that's the big umbrella, right? Who is JB Pritzker? Who are Juliana Stratton? What have they done? They've essentially fought hard to put Illinois back on the side of working families. And we're going to sell that message and share that message in a variety of ways, whether it be how fiscally responsible the governor has been, whether it be the investments that we've made on roads and bridges, whether it be what we've done for early childhood education, higher education. Some of you guys may have seen the press conference he did in DeKalb earlier today. $600 million investment to increase what is in the MAP fund to help young people, underserved communities, people under a certain poverty line, be able to access college. That's estimated to help another 24,000 students across the state of Illinois. So things like that are the things that we want to be talking about in the run-up, as well as starting to draw that contrast for whoever makes it out of the Republican primary. So that's what we want to be doing. Here's what I found. That's what we want to be doing online. So that theme, of fiscal responsibility, we drill a little deeper because in a lot of the polling that we've seen, that's really where JB has been the strongest. And COVID kind of has messed with our memory a little bit. But a lot of people forget how bad things were under Bruce Rauner and how our fiscal house was essentially a joke, a laughing stock for the entire country. You're talking about over 2 years without a state budget, which devastated the state in ways that we are still recovering from, to be completely honest. But what does it mean when we say that JB has been, fiscally responsible? We would say publicly something like this. Governor Pritzker has taken the right steps toward getting the state's fiscal house in order. Governor Pritzker has saved taxpayers billions of dollars and cut government waste by paying down Illinois' historic bill backlog. Under Governor Pritzker, the state passed a balanced budget after going years without a budget at all and received several credit rating upgrades for the first time in more than 2 decades. Those are the things that, at the end of the day, these are the things that are affecting people at their kitchen table, right? Understanding that, Illinois being in a more fiscally responsible position, that helps everybody. That helps business, that helps farmers, that helps teachers. Everybody that lives in the state of Illinois does not benefit when people don't want to do business with us. So that's one way as well that the governor has been strong. And finally, another thing that I just want to share, give an example of how the messaging, are these talking points going to be shared? Yeah, so we'll talk about toolkits before I wrap, and then I'll take questions. But this is an example, so we have a variety of DMAs, right? Demographic areas, right? So what are our different target areas in which, we need to kind of tweak our messaging a bit. So here's an example of what we call a complementary accomplishment message for our downstate base. The reality is the makeup of voters, at least from what we see in the polling, want to hear about what JB is doing for families, right? What is he doing to help families do better, right? That plays, at least from what we see in the polling, really well downstate. So it might sound something like this. In addition to ensuring critical services, families depended on Governor Pritzker expanding healthcare coverage to over 129,000 families, eliminating the Medicaid backlog. Governor Pritzker also advanced equal pay for women and people of color and expanded access to her early childhood education. So we're talking about women, we're talking about people of color, we're talking about the youngest citizens and things that JB has done to help alleviate some of the pains of the previous administrations. Now, I will share, like I said, some of the things I've shared with you guys tonight as far as measuring things, like what I'm reading off of, I can't share with you just yet. These are internal tools, but what you guys will receive through your leadership as we continue to get further down the road and need more people to amplify our positive messages, you guys will receive what I call messaging toolkits. And we'll send those to you guys, like I said, via your leadership. And the goal is to get you guys active on Facebook, active on Twitter, active in your spheres of influence, right? So I know I'll get the question. Most of the people on this call are progressive. Most of the people on this call are Democrats. You know, we're going to be talking to the same people. We're not asking so much that you share this in those groups where you know everybody agrees with you and thinks like you. The most positive messaging that you guys can be doing for us is sharing them on your personal feeds, right? Putting them in places where your family and friends or coworkers who may not be 100% aligned with you, may not be super political, but may be susceptible to hearing something from a friend. That's where we want to get these messages in front of folks so that they can see them, hear real people talking about real issues and why they're concerned about the state of our state moving forward into the general election. So I droned on for about 7 or 8 minutes. I want to give space for you guys to ask questions. I'm also going to place my email in the chat. Like I said, your leadership is able to get in contact with me very quickly. Obviously, I'm deputy political for a campaign that's running statewide. So I'm sometimes a little slow getting back on email, but I want to be accessible to you guys. I want you guys to get your needs met. And I want to be able to answer any questions you may have to the best of my ability. So I'll stop with that and take questions.
Well, there's one question in the chat. I think you may have answered it, but just in case, Maria Peterson, if you want to ask it, or did Kristen answer that question for you?
No, it's answered. Thank you.
Okay. So how about if people use the, use the hand raising emoji to ask a question? We have to, we can take questions till 7:49 and then we have to go on to the next speaker. I'm usually not like this, but we have a really packed agenda. So till 7:49, we can have questions. Okay, here's, it looks like Brian Hager has a question.
Thanks, Brian. Are you micro-targeting with social media? I'll try to answer these questions very quickly so we can get as many as possible. The short answer is yes.
Okay, there's a hand up. It is John Weber.
A quick question for you. Speaking a little bit off of the other thing on micro-targeting, I've seen some of your advertising already on YouTube, but the ads are unskippable. I'm told that there is a way that you can skip some of these ads and set them up for skipping and not have to pay for them, especially for people that are already converted. So is there a way that you could add a way to make your pre-roll and post-roll ads be skippable?
That's a phenomenal question. I need to take that back. I don't have a contrite answer for that question. And Rose, could you do me a favor? If you guys aren't, definitely feel free to take advantage of my email box. But if I can count on Rose or Marcy to make sure any question that's asked in the chat or verbally gets back to me, that would be helpful.
Okay. Does anyone else have a question? If you could put the hand up emoji, because I can't see everybody. So if you have a question, please put the hand up emoji on. Okay. Well, I think that may be it. Christian, you are awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, and so I guess we're running a teeny tiny bit ahead of schedule, which is awesome because we have a really packed agenda. Normally the Indivisible Rural Illinois group doesn't usually pack the agendas like this. This is different. So, is there another question in the chat? Okay. Okay, for those that live in, okay, I think it's just someone who's putting a message. Anyway, yes, you rock, Christian, and we'll go on to the next speaker. Do you have any closing remarks?
Thank you guys so much for providing space. Thank you guys so much for being engaged. I'll share a quick note as to why these elections are so important. My son graduated from pre-K in 2015, and because of the cuts by Governor Rauner, my son's pre-K closed down. I'll never forget the last time I went to go pick him up. The owner was crying behind her desk and she was kind of ashamed. And I asked her what was going on. She said the child's tax credit was cut. Parents couldn't pay. She couldn't pay her teachers. She had to close down. You all know very deeply that these elections have really personal costs, right? We're not comfortable. We're not taking anything for granted. JB and Juliana have so much more to do. We have so much more to do as a state to make it more livable for the families that are here. I'm asking that you please stay engaged. I'm saying thank you so much for being engaged. And if there's anything I can do to help you guys be more effective, not just for JB and Juliana, but for Democrats up and down the ticket, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Christian. Okay, and next we're going to hear from Janelle Starr. Janelle Starr owns Star Media, a website design group. She recently created a website for the Lee County Democrats. Those are the County Democrats that Sarah Bingaman is with. And Janelle will talk to us tonight about how to create an effective website. Janelle?
Thanks, Marcy. Well, just a little bit about me. I am a farm kid and I grew up right here in Northwest Illinois. So I'm that downstate voter that, that Christian was talking about. I've been married for 22 years. We have a 21-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son who wants to be a YouTuber, of course. So this content is perfect for him. And I personally served for 5 years on our elementary school board here. So a little bit about websites. I'm going to try to keep it short, but I always have a lot to say about websites. Almost everyone is on the internet. So I hear a lot of people saying like older people aren't on the internet, and that's just not true. As of 2019, we're seeing like 90% of all adults in America are using the internet in some form. So having a website is a way for you to put forth a professional presence. About 75% of people say that they base a person's credibility or a company's credibility on their website design. So the nice thing about websites versus social media, and I'm not trying to knock social media. I know that the vast majority of this meeting is about social media, but having your own website gives you a chance to control the message that you're putting out, where with social media, you can't control that. They're controlling the algorithms. They're controlling what content is put out there. So you definitely want to invest in a website so that you can put forth the impression that you want to. People are visiting websites, like I said, to check you out. That's where you can put forth your first impression. So with your website, you want to display like your legitimacy, your professionalism, and then of course in the political realm, credibility and trust are so important. Also with a website versus social media, anyone can get a website, anyone can get a social media page in like 5 minutes. So having your own website is a way to show your investment and your commitment to, in this case, your campaign, obviously. And then also with websites, they give people a better user experience. It's more memorable. I'm just looking at the comments. Thank you, Denise. Your website experience is a more memorable user experience. So I don't know about you all, but when I am scrolling social media, it's usually like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night after we've had dinner and I'm sitting on the couch watching TV. And just like everybody else, you're just scrolling through. It's just a very passive experience. And you're just kind of scrolling mindlessly through. So with a website though, it's an active experience. When someone goes to a website, they're going there to look for content. They're going there to consume something actively. So I think they work together really well. Like you definitely need to use social media, but you want to drive people to your website where you control that content. So one of the things that Sarah asked me to talk about was just kind of like what features to be included in a website. So if you're building your website, like one of the things that you should always include is compelling imagery. And that's in the form of photos and videos. You want to stay away from stock photography because obviously it's fake. I mean, you, especially in an election, you want to be having videos and photo of you with voters, with constituents. And stay away from low quality images too, because I've seen a lot of times we'll have a client like will try to text us an image that they've taken from their flip phone, obviously, because the image is like postage stamp size, and that just doesn't play well in any form. You want to include a call to action on your website. So what that means is think about like your end game. So obviously, again, in a campaign season, your end game is obviously donations. You need volunteers. So you want to give people places to click on your website or tap, obviously, when you're talking about mobile. Give people places to click so that they can get to that point. You want to get them to the point of making a donation. You want to include issues, obviously, but you want to keep it brief. So, so I would say like the top 3 to 5 issues you should choose, and just talk about why those things are important to you, where you stand on those issues. People get digitally tired really fast, so you want to just keep it brief and to the point, because they're not going to spend long amounts of time scrolling through a website. Obviously, like an about section and a bio, again, you want to keep it short, but you also want to be personal, because people want to know about you. They want to know about like your family. They want to know if you're a dog owner, things like that. So, so do get personal and let people know who you are. You also want to have a take action section. I was just looking at the Indivisible Illinois website a little bit, and you guys do have a great, it's a great looking website, first of all. But also there's that take action button. So you're driving people to where you want them to go. This is a little bit more than the call to action button that I was just talking about. But a take action section, give people one place to go where they can, like say, download petitions that they can circulate, give people your social media handles, let them know where they can pick up yard signs, and then how they can volunteer. And so I was thinking a lot about this volunteerism thing, because if you give people like, just like, hey, volunteer, and this is this one broad thing, they're probably not going to do it so much, just because people are busy. And so by telling them volunteer, they don't have any idea how much time they're going to give. So if you can break the volunteering down into bullet points for them and give them small things, then maybe they can pick like 1 or 2 ways that they can volunteer to help your campaign. Obviously, donate section. With a donate section, most people, you have to have some way to process credit cards if people are giving online. So most people are very familiar with and comfortable with like PayPal, Stripe. Venmo is obviously really gotten very popular in the last couple of years. Also, like your own bank probably has a way that they can integrate an online payment system for you, especially if you're using bigger, like national banks like Chase or Wells Fargo or things like that. So, so obviously have a way for people to donate, and then of course your contact info that you want to have available. I'm just watching my time here. So a few like kind of things you shouldn't do on your website. One of the things that we always caution people about is don't register a domain name that is like long or hard to type or say or spell or anything like that. So like your domain name is just how people get to you on the web. I don't know people's level of knowledge about this stuff, so I'm not trying to talk down to anyone, but so our domain name is starmedia.com. It's just short, it's easy to remember. It's easy if someone's driving by a billboard, you know, they can quickly see what that is and be able to remember it. I recently had a client come to us that someone else had registered their domain name, and there's literally a dash in between every single word. And so I was trying to type it, and it took so long because I'm like, type a word, hit a dash, type a word, hit a dash. So you want to just like keep it concise and easy to remember. Don't copy someone else's site, obviously. You don't want to copy their content. And then another thing is, don't have your tech-savvy nephew or your IT guy build your website for you. I promise you that even though they are tech-savvy, they don't know and understand the best practices and the legal requirements for having a website. So kind of along that line, be careful who you get to do it. Watch out for the cheapest option. You get what you pay for. And then I always tell people to reconsider doing it yourself. You'll hear a lot about, and especially we watch a lot of YouTube on the weekends. And so a lot of the ads, of course, that we see are for build your own website with Wix or Weebly and things like that. And those things, unless you have like some recent design and coding knowledge, you're probably going to get into a lot more than you bargained for with that stuff. It's never cheap and it's never easy. There's all kinds of add-ons, and I can't tell you how many times we've had clients come in here and say like, oh, I started my Wix website because they said it was going to be cheap and it was so much harder than I expected it to be. And so then unfortunately we have to charge them again to to rebuild their website. So, and you can't take your website with you when you leave those places. You're stuck with it. So be careful about that kind of stuff. I usually insert a shameless plug about Star Media here, but we are like 4 months out on website design right now. So I'm not going to do too many shameless plugs tonight. And the last few points I have are just kind of things like you definitely want to make sure you're doing with your website. Have a consistent design and branding and message across all your social media channels and your website. You want everything to match up so people know what they're looking at is yours. Make sure your website's mobile friendly. We're looking at like 70 to 75% of people are only using mobile devices to access websites. So make sure that it responds to whatever device they're looking at. Are you following legal requirements? I saw someone, thank you, Jennifer. I saw someone put about the Act Blue account is a good way to donate for you guys too. So I'll come back to that in a second. So is your website following legal requirements and best practice guidelines? You want to make sure that it's compliant with ADA laws. So Americans with Disabilities Act, can people that have sight issues read your website with their screen readers? That's one of those things like your nephew or your IT guy probably isn't going to think about. Do you have a privacy policy posted? I know Christian talked a lot about like advertising on social media, and if you're advertising on Facebook, you have to have a privacy policy. So you can post that privacy policy to your website. And are you following the requirements and laws for campaign finance? So make sure that you have, I know on that Act Blue website, when you go there to donate, it has the rules at the bottom, like, are you 18 years old? Do you live in the United States or something? I don't know what all the rules are, but so make sure you're following those rules and that they're posted clearly on your website. Make sure it's easy to navigate. Search engine optimization is another one. You want to make sure that you are wording things properly. So you have well-written content so that you do maximize your appearance in search engines. Get your domain name registered. It's a cheap investment. And I think most of the time you can get it for less than $15 a year. It's so much better to go to a website that you've made that very low cost investment. So like JB Pritzker's website is jbpritzker.com, and you don't want to have your website be jbpritzker.wix.sites.com or something like that. It's just not professional. And my last thing is test your website. Test it on every single browser, test it on every single device that you can get your hands on. We go through a very rigorous testing process with all of our websites to make sure that they display properly on all the different browsers, on Android, iPhone, iPad, we've got like Samsung tablets around here too, because it will look different on every single one. You want to make sure when you're clicking on those links that they go to where you want them to go, and that everything works properly. So that is all I have.
Okay. Well, there is one question in the chat, and we have time for one question, so that's great.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I know I told you I would talk a long time.
Oh, no, it's just we're not giving you that much time, and you
I know 15 minutes is so short. I do see that John mentioned about that you own the data, and that was part of my notes, but I kind of skipped over it because I was short on time. But yeah, when you have your own website, everything is yours, and it's not owned by like Facebook or whatever. So we have perfect URL lined up. It's a .net. Should we pursue that, or is it likely people will go to .com out of habit? I think anymore. I think anymore that people are so used to so many different extensions that it really doesn't matter. It's really how you market that. You know, make sure that you are marketing that, you know, the full website address. If you are trying to get the .com, sometimes depending on what that URL is, like you said, it's very expensive. I had one person one time paid $2,500 for a .com, and then he ended up dropping it a year later because he didn't even need it. And I'm like, why would you even do that? So as long as you market it properly, I think the .net is fine. What can you expect to pay for website design? It really, and John's right, .com and .org is preferable if you can get it, but if you market it the right way, it doesn't matter. What can you expect to pay? It really ranges. It depends on what you want. Our websites are probably very low cost, but we're ranging anywhere from like 1,500 to 3,000 is kind of our like average right now for any website design. Again, we're in rural Northwest Illinois. It's small towns around here. So for us, it's going to be much cheaper than if you're going to a web designer in Cook County. So.
Wow, thank you, Janelle. What that was a lot of information.
Sorry, I know. I'm like waiting for my water.
You did a good job getting it in the time allotted. I give you one. You rock.
Thank you.
So, and anyway, so thank you very much. And now you know how in the middle of everything we you know, like in the middle of TV shows and all that stuff, you always have commercials. Well, we're gonna have commercials now. We're gonna have announcements. So the first, and we're gonna start with announcement from Jessica Motzinger. Go, Jessica.
Hi, thank you, Marcy. A great meeting so far. I am beginning the mobilizing and organizing, and I'm helping with the other Poor People campaign organizers already here in Illinois. We are trying to get different groups and here in Illinois to commit to helping to either send a delegation off to DC, to get on the bus yourself, to help promote and support outwardly the Poor People's Campaign and the June 18th March in DC. So if we can count on you, please contact myself or the Poor People's Campaign person that you know closest to you. And we would love to get you all on board because we're trying to show that Illinois has got a lot of people that care about this movement and everything else. I apologize. I have a Boston Terrier whining next to me, so.
Thank you, Jessica. You rock. So, okay. Hey, put in the chat, put any links that you need them to sign up with, or put your email in the chat so they can
Thank you. I'll put in my email. They're still working on costs and stuff for the bus link. So by next week we'll have them, but you'll be hearing more from us, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Okay, you rock. Okay, next commercial. Etta Worthington. Is Etta here?
I'm here and I have just unmuted, and you can see I'm wanting to make lying wrong again. Yes? Okay, so Truth Brigade, Illinois. That might not be something you know about, but it was great hearing from Christian and Janet. And if you aren't familiar with Truth Brigade, Illinois, I want to let you know that we're about countering disinformation and telling the truth, both online and offline. And as we counter disinformation, and that really means confronting lies, we also try to encourage critical thinking. And we focus on what's called the truth sandwich, where we put the lie between two different truths. We're starting something this week that's new, and I'd like to invite you to think about coming if you're at all available. This is tomorrow. It's going to be on Fridays from 11 to 12:30. We're having what we call the Truth Sandwich Shop. And we encourage people to drop by. It's an hour and a half, but you don't have to come for the whole time. You can come at any time between 11 and 12:30. And what we're going to be doing, besides, I'm going to be munching on a sandwich because it's lunchtime, but we're going to be creating these truth sandwiches that we could use either on Facebook or on Twitter or Instagram, or something that you could put in a letter to the editor, or something that you could talk about with your neighbor or your cousin who's like a Trumper. So it's going to be kind of a workshop as we munch on our sandwiches. And, you know, when I was listening to Christian, I was thinking about what he was saying. And so I made up a truth sandwich right away to give you an idea of what it's sort of like. Here it is. We all want our state to thrive. But when people diss our current governor, you know, what planet are they from? You wonder how they got so far from reality. What we know is that Governor Pritzker, with him, the state passed a balanced budget after going 7 years without a budget. And that affects business, farmers, and you. Pay attention to what JB has done for our families. We need him. And then we always use a hashtag, Truth Brigade Illinois. So I'm going to put in the chat the information about this. It's actually going to be pretty low key and pretty kind of fun. If you don't know anything about it and you have time, come stop by. We'll tell you about it. And, you know, maybe I can find the chat at some point, but it's sort of like lost here. Yeah. I got it. We'd love to share with you how to do this. And it's becoming really effective. This is connected with a national thing from Indivisible, and already over 250 million people, impressions, as they call it, have been made with truth messages from people in groups like ours that are getting this out. This is on Twitter. There's a lot more besides Twitter, but with Twitter, they can measure it easily. Anyhow, please come. Yes, I see Allison says George Slaka, very much. And we're, you know, like it's St. George, right? We're trying to not change people's minds because we can't do that. We can help people change their own minds. And we're not telling people they're wrong. We're just telling what's right. So consider coming if you can. Thanks.
Thank you, Etta. Yes, you rock. And so, and who knows, sometimes Etta makes cocktails while she's talking. So tomorrow, don't be surprised if she makes a cocktail.
No, I'm just making a sandwich.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, so next commercial is Rose Colasino.
Right, thank you very much, Marcy. Thank you, Etta. I'm really impressed that you were able to do that on the fly for JB, and I'm especially excited that you're going to have these events every Friday. So thank you, and thank you to the team for doing that. I am, for this commercial, I'm here to tell you about our events on Saturday. We have 2 events. We're able to keep you very busy. First of all, at noon with the Indivisible Illinois Social Justice Alliance team, I am co-lead with Jonathan, Kathy, and Kim. I hope you can join us. And we are featuring the one and only Jessica. So I want to hear more. I'm sure you want to hear more. We have been touting Poor People's Campaign for so long and are thrilled and excited that Jessica is going to lead that initiative. So if you want to hear from Jessica, again, I do, join us on Saturday. I'll put these links in the chat as soon as I can. It is Saturday at noon Central Time, in case we have anybody out of state. We will also be joined by Sarah Kniznik. She spoke with us last month about Ethan's Law, and gun reform is so critically important. So Sarah will also be speaking to us. And if that's not enough, can you tell we're getting closer to 2022? We have the 4 p.m. regular phone bank. You will see Marcy there, and you will see me there, and quite a few others. We've had good attendance, but Many of you have heard me say this repetitively, but Wisconsin, yes, is again an epicenter state, a battleground state, and we are partnering with West Dems as well as grassroots. So please join us 4 p.m. on Saturday. We'll keep you busy, and then you can continue having fun, let's say, after that. But thank you for that, Marcy.
You rock, Rose. One more commercial, Evelyn Malone, and then after Evelyn does her commercial, she's going to introduce the next speaker. Evelyn?
Yeah, hi guys. Thank you so much. This has been a dynamic meeting so far. I've just learned a lot of things that I did not know. So thank you to all the speakers. I want to ask you guys a question. You don't have to answer. What are informed citizens? What's the purpose of informed citizens? I would like for you to join me next Wednesday night, and I want you to bring a pen and a pad. You're going to be writing. We're going to have an interactive conversation about voter preparation and preparedness and engagement, and we're going to use a lot of music, and it's going to be very interactive. You will be talking back and forth with each other and with me. I want to know who you are, what compels you, what brought you to the place of whatever your activism is, what brought you to that place. We meet each other here through chat. We say hello, but who are we? What causes us to do what we do? And I think through fun activities next week, we're going to find out a lot more about each other. There's going to be storytelling, because everything that I've heard tonight, if you stop and think about it, it's been stories, informational story sharing. And so next week, we're going to take it up a notch. Okay, so please come out and let's learn more about who each other is, what we do, why we do it, and really motivate and encourage each other. Now then, at this time, it is my honor to introduce to you, you guys already know this lady, she's awesome, Lenny. I've known Lenny, I guess now for 5 years. We worked together on different campaigns, and mainly Sean Casten's campaign and a lot of other areas too. So I really feel honored to be able to share a few perspectives about Lenny. It's not going to be like the whole cup of tea, but it's great because she's a fantastic leader. So since helping to organize over 10,000 plus Illinoisans to the Women's March on Washington in 2017, Lenny is also the co-founder of Indivisible, Illinois, where she continues her activism in her volunteer capacity as a grassroots organizer. Her mission, and I love this, her mission is to empower everyday people to get involved, actively involved, and to build healthy, safe, and welcoming communities to advance our progressive vision for and justice for all. She seeks to build coalitions that center racial equity and are trauma-informed to win campaigns and advance our progressive vision, once again, and justice for all. Tonight, it is my honor to introduce to you someone you already know. So take it away, Letty.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. I am very excited to be here. Thank you to the rural team for putting this meeting together. I am going to share my screen to do a very short presentation, and then I am going to introduce our next speaker. I was asked to talk about YouTube. And so YouTube, we really have not explored all the advantages of YouTube, but because of the pandemic and because of using more Zoom, we have this opportunity to figure out how can we use YouTube to our advantage. I mean, really, when we first started, when I came back from the Women's March, I just wanted with Scott to continue conversations with people who actually marched on that day, maybe for the first time in their lives, to figure out what we could do at the local levels to make an impact at the federal level. We've learned so much since then, but really it is all the stuff that we do in our communities that makes a difference and makes an impact. So we have a mission statement for our Indivisible Illinois Community Collaborative, and it's a working statement. And it is to build a welcoming and safe community that centers racial equity and is trauma-informed to empower the Illinois Progressive Grassroots Activist Network. And we're doing that on Wednesdays, every Wednesday, and also in our working groups. We have 6 working groups, including I'll Vote, Indivisible, Rural Illinois, Truth Brigade, Social Justice Alliance, and Vote by Mail Task Force. And our goal as organizers is to show what we can do together and to advance the progressive agenda in the state of Illinois. And so I'm very grateful that Marcy and the rural team put this meeting together, including Christian Perry, to tie it all together for us and towards the midterms. So as I told you before, we're going to talk about Indivisible Illinois YouTube and how it really fits into our work. A little bit about YouTube. It's the second most visited website besides Google. And as I said before, you know, we really utilize Facebook so much in those early years, doing a lot of live streams. There were so many rallies all across the states. What we have now is an opportunity with the Indivisible Illinois Community Collaborative to center around what we could do at the statewide level, including re-electing JB Pritzker and supporting all of those down ballot representatives, including at the local school boards. What can we do together? So I thank all of the groups here for working towards that end. So we know that all of us are here probably because we're tied together through internet, but we want to use YouTube for good. We want to use it for awareness and educational and activism purposes. So this talk is going to mostly center on what we as creators can do with YouTube and what we have done with Indivisible Illinois. So if you are on Google and you put Indivisible Illinois videos, you're going to find many, many, many pages of what we have done together. And it's a great way to just peruse, to see what we're up to. We are also looking for people who are interested in joining our communications teams. Just putting that out there. There are 6 working groups and also local groups that could use your help. So I will pitch that out there. YouTube is, you know, it was created 15 years ago, and it was a way to allow people to share videos easily. And you could like and share and comment and upload your own videos, and you could watch it on many different mediums. And so we have used it in a way to highlight all of our working groups. So here you could see, you can create a playlist for Indivisible Rural Illinois, for instance. And then you could also manage each of the videos so that you can tag them so that they're more easily found. You can put graphics up, which we have done here. I want to thank all of the creators that are on this call, including those who create art for us. We really appreciate all your volunteer work. YouTube has a way to allow you to add subtitles and closed captioning. And what we do is we take the YouTube links and we embed them into our blog post, which Janelle mentioned. And thank you for looking at our website. We've been working really hard to actually utilize the blog in a way that exactly what she was saying, which is to bring people off of social media and to bring them to Indivisible Illinois. We are going to be working on how can we make our website more accessible and easy to use. But yes, we use our blog, which is under Take Action. And basically, if you ever want to know what Indivisible Illinois is up to, go to indivisible.illinois.org, go under Take Action, and you'll be able to see what you missed and also what's coming up. And you could see that here under news and latest activities. So Indivisible, Illinois is made up of local chapters because all politics is local. We work with our 6 working groups because collaboration is key. And then we have created this project called the Indivisible Illinois Community Collaborative, in which we meet every Wednesday because we believe that working together collaboratively across the state is going to help us achieve our statewide agenda. And we are very inspired by people who have been organizing way long before us, including our friends at Indivisible NWSOFA. And I love this snowflake model that they have been using for over a decade now, which shows you a little bit of what we aspire to at Indivisible Illinois, which is to take all the parts and to connect them all together. So on the left, you'll see their communications team snowflake. And this is exactly what it is. YouTube is just a little pocket of what is the bigger picture and how we all work together, including our website, Facebook, our newsletters, of which we have over 56,000 subscribers now at the statewide level, bringing in new members, making sure that our database is good, and a training for leaders so that we could bring in more people. We are going to be talking about Twitter in just a few minutes. And this is NWSOFA's issue team snowflake model, which is vast and expansive, and we just love it. So thank you to that. I wanted to mention that YouTube, again, is just a tiny piece of the puzzle. And us as organizers, we work in many different capacities, including electoral, community, in labor, faith-based, in our movement in general, but also this is what we're talking about today, which is digital. And the whole idea is that we want to build power, and we do that by working together. The last thing I just wanted to say is that when I organized for the Women's March, I did it kind of on a whim. I did it because I was afraid that we did not know what was going to happen with the Trump administration. I have 3 children, young children at the time, and I remember making jokes, about Trump and how he's running. And then that day, that election day, when we watched the TV turn from red to blue and the living room got silent, I didn't know what to do. I felt really alone. And I turned to the internet and, weirdly enough, I found volunteers with the Women's March, and I was able to do my part, and we actually made such a huge impact. The biggest thing I will say is that what I got out of that whole long weekend is that we need each other. We need each other. We need to keep in touch. And we could do it in a very simple way. We start with just 5 people, we put them on a text thread, and we keep in touch. And from there, we find other people who are organizing together. We organize with organizers. And that's what we're trying to do with the rural group here and across all of our working groups. So please sign up to get our newsletter. You could subscribe to the YouTube channel. You could join the rural group Google group listserv, or you could reach out to the Rural Illinois Gmail account, or to Marcy or Sarah or many of the folks here. But please keep in touch. And with that, I'm going to stop the share.
Yeah.
I know that was a very, yeah, go ahead. Marcy.
There's one question. I just wanted to tell you there's one question, and she PM'd me, so you won't see it. So can these slides be shared through the Google Drive?
Absolutely. I will share them in the chat. I will make them shareable and put them in the chat after I give my interest, if there are no other questions.
Well, thank you, Lenny. You rock. And also thank you, Evelyn, for introducing Lenny and for the last commercial. I didn't have a chance to thank you. So anyway, so go ahead, Lenny. Go ahead.
Thanks, Marcy. All right, so I'm introducing Rose Colasino, and she's appeared several times on this call today. So Rose and I met in person in Ohio many years back, and have been hip to hip ever since. She is the Voters' Rights and Protections Lead, Vote by Mail Task Force Lead, Indivisible Illinois Social Justice Alliance Lead. She's an organizer, community organizer, statewide organizer, and an interstate organizer. And right now she's available to present the Indivisible roadmap to win in 2022. She has a background in corporate marketing, management, and software sales. And she was the senior director at a women's management nonprofit that organized international education exchange program, and has a BA in political science and an MBA with a concentration in marketing. And she's here to talk about how we can use Twitter in our activism. Rose.
I am now unmuted. So thank you, Lenny, as I was saying to myself, and also thank you, Marcy, for putting this phenomenal program together. I am going to go ahead and share some slides with you, so bear with me while I get that up. And yes, I am most definitely going to be talking to you about Twitter. So let me load that up. All right, I think you can all see it. Holler at me if you can't. So as we know, and as we've talked about already, social media most definitely can be used for good, and it can be used for, let's say, nefarious purposes. However, organizing together in an intentional, focused way, we think we can turn the tables. Each platform, I'm going to touch on this as quickly as I could, but each platform, as you've heard a little bit already, has its own audience and its own advantages. I today will be talking to you about Twitter and Twitter storms. We've got about 10 minutes today together, this evening, I should say, so I will not be providing Twitter training, but I am going to be providing you with some links if that's what you want. All right, so this might look familiar to some of you, especially Gretchen Coleman, who is next, who put this together. She did, I thought, a really great job providing a synopsis for us about what in the heck are Twitter storms. I will be providing the link for these slides because I have a lot of workable links, and you can tap in and read the rest of it because there is more if you want more information on Twitter storms. So essentially with Twitter storms, what we're doing, depending on our area of interest, is we're highlighting an issue, perhaps an election or a candidate for office. This obviously is not a comprehensive list. Let me just give you an idea of what we have done in the past. Our first big one at Indivisible, Illinois, and it was, I think, very successful, was promoting vote by mail way back when in 2020. And why? As I tell you often, why vote by mail? It is because studies have shown us, not just me, that it increases voter turnout and it also decreases inequities. I don't know if it's in this order or not, but we also had a Twitter storm for Georgia. And not to say that we were the only influence here, but yes, our goal was to have Senators Warnock and Ossoff win, and that did happen. Surprised even me. I thought we would have one of them, but thank goodness we have both. I, by the way, was able to attend a webinar with Senator Raphael Warnock, and we are so lucky to have him. Also there were 2 impeachments, right? So we did one Twitter storm on impeachments, and also the topic I am going to concentrate on is candidates. We got together, it was a labor of love. Some of you, I think are here, I can't see everybody right now, but most definitely Gretchen and Bill and Jim and Julia and many others. We worked on the April consolidated election for 2021. Both Bill and I thought that was 2 years ago, but no, it was only last year. Also, we were trying to brag about our numbers sometimes, and we made 240 million impressions, and that's from all of the Twitter storms. So today what I'm going to do is concentrate on Twitter storms with hope that some of you might want to have one. We're happy to serve as consultants for you, and that you might want to do one for June. We have that election coming up, new month for us, and also the incredibly critical imperative elections in 22. I am going to spend a short time on this because it fascinates me, and I think it just grounds us to do a little bit of analysis. I tried not to go too far with this. I could have really dug in deep, but I want to share this, what I think at least is somewhat fascinating information. So this is all from Pew, and I think they do a phenomenal job. I think it's about as current as you can get. It's from 2021. And I will have, for those of you that are nerds like me and want to dig a little deeper, because there's a lot of charts here you can imagine, I will have the link in the slide notes. So what it is telling us, at least this study, is that Americans are using YouTube the most. If you, I don't have my laser ready to go, but you can see it right up here, about 81%. And second is Facebook at 69%. And here we are, my helpful arrow, solid, but not at the top of the list. Twitter is at 23%. So the thing is, depending on your purpose, each platform most definitely, as mentioned, has a different audience. So you want to think about that. Twitter, it's been my on the ground sense, and I believe what Pew is telling us and others is more democratic. So we're trying to recruit. We definitely want to mobilize the base. So if that's something that you want to do, you want to stay on Twitter, at least one of the platforms, be on Twitter. Now, if you want to bust the bubble, which I keep talking about doing, getting out a little bit and trying to catch some of those impressionable folks or some of the folks that are on the line, it appears that Facebook, according to what Pew is telling us, is where to go. I had to hesitate because of time. Age breakdowns are on this, and I thought that was fascinating, but that's something you might want to dig in deeper on the link, the Pew link yourself. So I thought you would be interested in this. Here is a partisan breakdown. I found this very fascinating. Democrats, more than the GOP, are likely to use a multitude of platforms, including Instagram and Twitter. The percentages on this, if it's too small for you, it is a little tiny. Twitter happens to be, according to Pew, 17% Republican or lean Republican. So you see where this is going. Twitter is about 32% Dem or lean Dem. Now, Facebook seems to be a place where most of us live, and it is a little more uniform. We've got 69% Republican or lean Republican and 72% Dem or lean Dem. All right, back to Twitter storms. Here's another definition for you. I have, if not learned anything from the marketing experts, repetition is key. So marketing experts agree that's how we learn. And here's another definition of Twitter storm saying pretty much the same thing. A period characterized by a sudden increase in the number of posts made on Twitter. The focus could be issues, as we talked about. Events is one that we didn't cover before, and something new to introduce to you that could be controversial, not always. Here are what I hope to be some helpful hints. First of all, you want to use a common hashtag, and we have been told by some other experts that 2 is about the recommended amount. When I first started on Twitter, I will tell you I had more than 2. It is also important to have common hashtags because that is going to help you for tracking purposes. Oh, and let me just share with you for kicks here what we have used in the past. We like to try to label ourselves to see how we're doing. So one hashtag we have used in the past and we'll use in the future is a hashtag Indivisible IL, and then hashtag, this one was huge. We did, let's say, commandeer this one from our Indivisible friends in California. I love this one. Maybe, hopefully we don't use it again, but it is virus-free voting Illinois. So there is a free service. It's a little quirky sometimes, but it's called Social Bearing. And that's how I found out about our 240 million impressions. And that's why it pays to just stick to 1 or 2 hashtags. So you can figure out at the end of your event how well you are doing. You can, I'm not going to explain this because of time, but you can retweet, you can quote tweet, you can comment, you can like, and you can hunt, park hunt, because that would take a little more time than I have, but that is something that we have been highly successful with. Again, happy to address any of this with you later. I will try to remember to pop my email into the chat. Also important, Gretchen tells us, as well as Marla, I don't know if she's here this evening, but images and graphics are highly, highly important. And Marla actually can teach us how to click and tweet. Something, let's just say, for time's sake, can make us more efficient and automate the process. I had to share this with you. This, again, talking about labor of love. This is Bill Davis's baby here, what he suggested, and it was more work, but Bill, it was worth it, wasn't it? He said that when we had our Twitter storms focused on the April 21st consolidated election, that we should feature candidates, and that's exactly what you did. I don't think this is everybody, but these are some of the candidates. So we would have them talk on the front end, and then we would have that full recording, and Bill and his team, namely Christine, would do that snippet, and then we would share that on social media. So I feel that that really, really was successful for us and helped us move the needle. I'm not going to include everybody here because I don't know if I remember everybody, but off the top of my head, we had Barrington in the house as far as candidates. We had Palatine, Oak Park, Arlington Heights, Champaign-Urbana. I think Marcy brought in most of the candidates. We had a really good time with that. Bloomington, Adams County, and more. And I almost forgot where I'm sitting right now. I happen to be in Orland Park. So again, another workable link. I did not update this for 22. I did not have time, but here's a toolkit. You can use this for grounding and, you know, perhaps replicate it by updating it, but this is here for you. And then I'd be chagrined not to share this. This is amazing. I'm not going to go through it because I think I'm at time here, but this again to Bill Davis. He put together this chart after the election. He analyzed our candidates, whether or not we had a video for them, whether they won or lost. So I think that this is actually fascinating to analyze our work and to see if we were successful. And we do, again, think we have no way of knowing for sure, but we think we had a part in helping folks be successful. I just have a little bit more here. I want to share a bunch of, yes, thank goodness, this is the last slide. I want to share a bunch of resources with you. So here's information. Couldn't quite do this in 10 minutes, but here's information for signing up on Twitter. Here's definitions, 34 or more terms that you felt uncomfortable, let's say, asking about. And then this last link, this was by Karen Goldman, and it is fantastic as far as coaching slides. We even have videos if you want to learn in that way. So it is hopefully all there for you. I want to talk before I end, though, about what is next. I will put my email in the chat. I keep saying it, so I will remember. I want to give you the opportunity to hopefully join us, remind you that Truth Brigade on Fridays, we'll be doing this, and so excited again about this every Friday at 11 o'clock, Truth Sandwiches, and I'm working with Etta and Candace and Linda. And then also the JB campaign. If anybody, by the way, is interested in that, Terry, myself, and Jessica are working with Christian. So I think it's
Rose. Can you put all these links in the chat because yes, we're running really tight on time. And
I just want to tell you about Demcast Field Team 6, and also that by doing this, I think we can overcome and get rid of all that miss and mail information. So let me go ahead and stop sharing. And then it is going to be my distinct pleasure to
wait. First, let me thank you for doing this real quick. Thank you, Rose. And we don't have time for questions for you, but you rock. Go ahead and introduce the next speaker. Thank you.
Yes, again, it's my pleasure to introduce Gretchen to you. And Gretchen Coleman is from Palatine, and she is a political science and political philosophy major at Syracuse University. She is currently studying in Washington, D.C. and interning at Vote Early Day. She is the founder of Ballot Z, an initiative to make information about elections more accessible for Generation Z voters in Illinois. Gretchen is most definitely, I can confirm this, passionate about voting rights and hopes to pursue a career in election and reform advocacy. Gretchen, over to you.
Thanks so much for the introduction, and thank you all for having me. I'm excited to be talking about social media and how we can use that to reach Gen Z for the 2022 elections. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have just a couple slides because I think visuals make it a lot easier on social media. And so here, I know we have limited time, but here mostly to talk about Instagram, and then I am not as much of an expert in TikTok, but I will do my best to answer any questions you guys might have there as well. And so I just have a couple different highlights. You can ask questions about anything more specific about Instagram strategy that you guys think might be helpful. But really in terms of like, if you're trying to design something for your campaign that would be a really good way to reach out to voters, specifically young voters, there are going to be a lot of people who are following your accounts, which is awesome, but also a really good way to reach people is to get people who are already following your accounts to share it on their own personal pages, because that reaches like exponentially more voters. Because if I was going to share this post in my story, then everyone who views my story will be able to see it and hopefully direct them over to your account as well. So these are on Instagram, there's kind of the two features. I'm not sure how familiar you guys all are with Instagram. But there's the traditional post, which is like the little square that you see in your feed. This is a sample Ballot Z post. And there's also the story. So like if you go on the top of your Instagram feed, there's those little circles of the people you follow. And so stories are the pieces at the top that are only available for 24 hours. But as I'll get into on the next slide, that's actually the most used feature on Instagram. So don't discount the stories. Those are really important in your Instagram strategy as well. Yes, and reels too are also super important. We'll get into that on the next slide a little bit too. And so what I've seen a lot of like my friends and my peers, when they share posts on Instagram that are related to issues related to voting or social justice, it's usually like informational posts, something that people found like pretty insightful or something they thought would be a good resource for someone else, and they'll usually share that on their story. So like the post we have here, was one of the most shared posts that Ballot Z had before the November 2020 election, because it had voting resources. So this directs to like the National Voter Hotline for issues at the polls. And this is a good way to kind of let people know that they had options if they ran into issues at the polls. So if people go click on this like little, I think it's like a paper airplane or something, you could share that on your story. There's a way that you can like customize the post to make sure it reaches more people. Another way to kind of get more people to share stories or share posts is by designing a kind of customizable Instagram story as well. So this is an option of like a blank template that we put on our story for Ballot Z. And so people could type in a little reason if they were going to work the polls, and they could actually tag their friends as well. So if you tag your friends in a story, it comes up on their posts. So it's a good way to kind of, they get a notification that they've been shared and they're going to go check it out and see what's going on. So the more you can kind of add in interactive things like that, people are going to engage with your content more and hopefully be more motivated to share it with their friends and family. And then just a couple more things like that I wanted to highlight before we get into questions. Again, emphasizing how important Instagram stories are. But there's also ways that you can customize the posts. So definitely like if you post something in the regular feed, you can share it to your story. You could also add in stickers. You can add in interactive elements like a poll or something like that. So happy to get into more of that later if we want to meet later on. I'd be happy to walk you through some of those as well. But a lot of cool options to make it like interactive and pretty user friendly. And we were also talking about Reels in the chat, which is kind of like Instagram's version of TikTok. So it's like a video that goes on like a separate feature of the app. And so you can integrate that with TikTok really easily if you're using both of those platforms. And that's something that Instagram wants to make a bigger deal. So if you post a reel, that'll like their algorithm will prioritize it because they really want more people to use the reel feature. Other things that the algorithm tends to like, which means that it shows up in people's feeds more regularly, are other regular videos and photos of people. So Ballot Z has a lot of graphics, but whenever we post a picture of like a voter registration event, like it categorizes it as like something that people are more likely to see, and it'll show up in people's feeds a lot more. So as much as you can, try to integrate photos of people into your posts too. So I know I just ran through a ton of information, but I wanted to kind of leave a spot for any questions that you guys might have. And also please feel free to contact me after this. I'd be happy to talk with you more about kind of your specific needs for Instagram or share with you more of Ballot Z's best practices. Oh yeah, so what is the difference between a story and a feed on Instagram? So the feed is like, I can actually see if I can pull it up. That might be one of the easiest ways to do this. I can go ahead and stop sharing, and I can be happy to send the slides after as well, if that would be helpful for you guys. So like this is on just the Ballot Z Instagram. It's really, really hard to see, I'm sorry. But the feed is like the kind of regular thing as you're scrolling, like the posts that you see all of the time. And the story are these little bubbles at the top. So like if you follow your users, just anyone who you follow on Instagram, if they post something on their story, it's going to appear at the top of their screen. So I can show you like from Ballot Z's story, like these are things that we've shared on Ballot Z's stories in the past. So this is a way you can share a post. So like this square here is a post that Ballot Z has shared before, and you can add text in it as well. So they kind of work together, but they're kind of two separate aspects also of like different ways people engage with the app.
Okay, cool, you rock. There is one question in the chat, Gretchen, and you have like a couple minutes. What's the difference between a story and feed on Instagram?
Yeah, I think that's the point that I just touched on, but if anyone has other like questions about stories, please let me know. I know I kind of rambled on a little bit about those.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. You rock. So
thanks so much.
Anyway, so guys, we just have one more thing. It's me. And I'm going to be talking about Facebook, and I don't have very much time. Rose is going to time me because I'm worried that I'm going to run over, and I'm going to try to share my screen, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach everybody how to create a Facebook event post and share it. So let me see if I can share my screen. I am technologically illiterate, so we will see how this goes. Okay, hold control to say, okay, share. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Okay, cool. So yes, like I said, I'm technologically illiterate. So anyway, so just to let you know, for Facebook, the way to really get things out there is to make a Facebook event post. And how you do it, number one, you have to do it on some place where you have administrative access. You either are, on a Facebook page, and it should be a page, not a group, because a Facebook page is always going to be public. If you want to share that thing all over the place, and you put it in and you create it in a closed group, you already screwed yourself. So you will not be able to share it anywhere else. So here we go. I am going to create one on the Indivisible Rural Illinois page, because I am an admin on that page. First, get on the page and see where it says more. And you have to, right now, I'm going to move this. Okay. You have to have it where you are, like I am interacting as Indivisible Rural Illinois. You can't act as yourself. You have to act as the page. I'm going to click on events, and see where it says create new event. That's what I'm going to do. So, and right now, it's asking if you want to do online or in person. I'm going to create an in-person event, and we're going to make this sample only, and we're going to be playing in the park. Playing in the park. Okay, there we go. So, and we're going to do this tomorrow at 1 a.m. We're going to play in the park at 1 a.m. Does anyone want to join me? So here we go. Because I figure if I do it at 1 a.m., then it'll time out if I forget to take it off. So it's like, so March 18th at, again, 1 a.m., well, not March 18th, I want it for March 6th. So here we go, March 6th. March 6th. Okay, I want it to stop on March 6th at 1:30 a.m., 1:15 a.m. That works. Okay, you can make it a recurring event if you want, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to describe it as, you want to put a description in here. I'm going to description it as playing in Robeson Park. Playing in Robeson Park is a park that's really close to me. Robeson Park. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Okay, and then you won't be able to go on unless you make a category. I always try to make social issues because normally that's what I'm creating for. And social issues always end up there between the X and the F. And so you have to kind of slide in. So anyway, so here we go. It's social issues. Click on next. Location, I'm going to put Robeson Park. And one thing about Robeson Park in Champaign. Okay. Champaign. And click on that because then it already has the address for you and you don't have to look it up or anything like that. Facebook does that. And then I'm going to change the picture. You have to have anytime you change a picture for for a Facebook event post, you have to have it uploaded. I already uploaded it, except this is a picture I uploaded, but I'm going to close this picture. I'm going to upload the cover photo. It's going to go into my hard drive and it's going, and I get that picture back just because that's the one I just uploaded for it. So, that's how it goes. Okay, come on, guy. Okay, so, and it says drag into position. Now, one thing is, picture has to be at least 400 by 150 pixels. If it is smaller than that, Facebook will not take it. It will reject it. Now, the other thing is, if you have it too big, this picture actually is too big to be a Facebook event post, but it's okay because it's just, it's just flora and it's just flora. But if you, let's say, for example, had something that had a lot of text to it, you really wanted the whole picture to be seen and it was too big, it's going to cut some of it off. So you really need to have it have something like that. Click on event settings if you want to invite co-hosts. And I know Bill Davis really wants me to try to invite co-hosts because he wants to know how to do that, right, Bill? So anyway, so I'm going to invite NWSOFA. So, and that's Bill's group. I'm also going to invite Indivisible Illinois because right now this is Indivisible Rural's page. I will also invite Ben the Arc CU events page because I want to show you how to accept too. So let's save, publish event. Okay, the event's published. Okay. Well, it's not published yet. It's in the midst of working on it. So we have to wait for it. Okay, now it's published. Okay, so I'm going to a couple of those things that I had put as that I had said want to co-host it with me. I am the admin for, so I can accept it. But see here where it says that Indivisible Rural Illinois icon right over there. In order to accept, I have to change to me. I have to change to my icon. So click on that and see what happens. All of a sudden, Indivisible Illinois has appeared. Do you guys all see that? Okay, anyway, so I'm going, and you can accept or decline, accept. And Bill, if you go on Facebook into this post, you will, and you have your little icon name, you will be able to see NWSOFAs and you'll be able to accept. The other thing is, I'm also an admin on Ben the Arc CU's post. I cannot see it now, and why? Because Facebook has some weird thing. Some of the Facebook pages you have to turn into the page, and also in order to do things. So I'm going to go into Bend the Arc CU events, and it looks like I am over time. I have feeling I have 3 minutes left. Okay, thank you, Rose. Anyway, so I have to go onto the events page and tell the events page I'm switching to it. And it's going to switch me, for some reason, not all the pages are like this, like the Indivisible Illinois page wasn't, but Bend the Arcs is. So in order to do that, I have to switch, I have to be Bend the Arc CU for that particular page. I don't know why. Some of the pages do that and some of them don't. So so now I can go back into the into Indivisible Rural Illinois thing here. So Indivisible Rural Illinois, and I can go to sample only playing in the park, and except for Bend the Arc CU. Okay, now I'm going to change back. I'm going to change back to me. Here's me changing back to me. So, and then I'll go back here, and it will automatically change back to me because I've already done it. Okay, and I'm going to invite people. First of all, I'm going, in order to invite pages and groups and all that stuff, in order to invite a group, you have to be a member, you have to share. In order to share with the group and have it be in the group, you have to be a member of that group. If you're not a member, you won't be able to share. So join as many groups as you can, guys, so you can do this. So I am going to post this on, IL Votes and click post. Now, in order to share to a page, if you want to do it this way rather than copy and paste, you have to be an admin or something like that on that page. So I'm going to post it on Illinois Votes page right here. And but it's because I'm an admin there, but I won't be able to get to that with that little arrow if I am not an admin or something. With the groups, you just have to be a member. So anyway, but then if you want to invite people to it, you have to be their Facebook friend. But you can invite all your Facebook friends. I'm going to invite Rose because she's one of my Facebook friends. I'm going to invite Lenny, because she's one of my Facebook friends. I'm going to invite, and I'll invite Bill, because Bill is one of my Facebook friends. So here we go. So all of us can play in the park at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I can't get to the bottom here. Send invites. So you will all get invites to playing in the park. Anyway, so that's how to create a Facebook post. If you want to know more about Facebook after this is done, I will go ahead. I will stay on. So anyone who wants to know any more about Facebook can ask me more questions. But that's all I have time to do. Did I get through it okay in time, Rose? Okay, so now I have to get back to you guys here. So let's see if I can. And now I'm not feeling how to get back in. Anyway, so thank you guys all for coming. I think we're totally at time at 8:59. We have 1 minute. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Because we have 1 minute for questions. Oh, I have to not share my screen anymore. That's what's wrong. I'm still sharing my screen. How do I unshare? Uh-oh. How do I unshare, guys? Can someone?
See a button in there? Does it look red that says stop share? Sometimes it disappears because it likes to mess with us.
Yeah, well, I don't see it. Dang it.
It might have disappeared on you.
Oh no. So how do I do this more? Oh, step. It's not telling. I can't find how to stop sharing.
You can go to view and go to gallery so we can see some of each other on the side through gallery.
Okay, thank you.
Magic, you did it. You did it, Marcy.
Thank you, Rose. I am technologically illiterate, so I don't know how to do those on Zoom. So anyway, but thank you guys all for coming. And like I said, if anyone wants to know anything more about Facebook, because I didn't have a whole lot of time, and none of us had much time, and everyone ran through it as fast as they could. And I appreciate it because we really scheduled a lot of things. And so, like I said, if you want to stay on, you can. And everyone else, you're free to go. You rock. And we'll stop recording.